Story 1. Pretty high on the scale right now. My husband left me with our 2 kids for a coworker. I really don't know where to start. I did love life for 10 years. Story 2. I'm not happy with my situation. Health is bad, frequently broke, and exhausted. But I have great friends and games to play. If this is all life is, the people I care about make it worth it. Story 3. I'd say about a 3 on the scale of messed up. Pretty chill with occasional bumps, but nothing too wild. I'm just here to help. No existential crises in sight. Story 4. I'm not going to say my life is messed up because I cherish every little bit of happiness and peace I can get. There are worse things going on around me compared to my day-to-day life, but life in general and the way humans as a whole choose misery and don't choose the peaceful route of things is absolutely messed up. I have no explanation of why things are the way they are and why over the course of human existence nobody learns anything and just repeats. The anxiety from that affects me the most. Story 5. I'm in a high-control religion that I can never leave unless all my children and siblings suddenly stop believing too. If I ever tell anyone that I can prove it's all false, then I get kicked out and no one is permitted to speak to me. Other than that, everything is good. Story 6. Pretty messed up. I'm 60, disabled, and my husband left when I became disabled about 22 years ago. I moved to care for my grandchildren, and within 5 years, my child remarried and moved 6 hours away. I have no savings. Whatever is in the bank on any given day is my estate. I'm a live-in caregiver for my mom and a more disabled sibling. I have been a caregiver since I became a nurse at 19, and I think I have burnout. I have several major mental illnesses that impact my ability to work enough to get off disability, but I keep trying. I'm messed up, but I know I am, so I just have to keep going somehow. It's getting harder, though. It's a rare day that I don't cry when I wake up. Story 7. My sister, Greta, complained to my parents about taking care of me. She did not refer to me as Gregor or he. She called me it. I think I will just go back to my room so I do not burden my family any longer. Story 8. Tough to read some of the stories here and sad to see so many low marks. All I would say is think of life as a wheel of fortune. When that wheel is at its lowest, the only way is up. It's also worth remembering when things are going well. However much money you have, remember that ill health can always get you. I've faced tough times and come out a better person for it, with more perspective and gratitude for what I have. Story 9. My partner has some bathroom-related health issues that take hours to deal with each time, taking up pretty much all our time and energy every single day, and makes it extremely difficult to do much of anything outside of dealing with them. We're very stuck and don't know what to do. Story 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is great and 10 is completely ruined, I would say 4. I'm not too bad off, reasonably comfortable, and doing what I want, but I have zero money, as I gave my retirement savings to my kids as a house deposit, and I don't see a payback coming anytime soon. But my kids and grandkids mean an awful lot to me, so I endure it and hope they pay me back one day. There has been a lot of darkness in the last 7 years, such as parental loss, separation, cancer, unemployment, and family problems, but right now it's like a lull in the storm, and I am grateful for what I have. Story 11. I'm pretty poor, don't have a lot of friends or family, but if depression and anxiety were less of a problem, my life would be pretty great. I don't need a lot to make me happy. It's my outlook that's the problem right now. 6 out of 10. Story 12. I think my life is not really messed up. I have my parents and siblings alive, not counting our debt to the government. I am Kazakh, and my English isn't very good. My life is pretty good, I think. Story 13. Sometimes I feel like my life is pretty messed up, and I'd say, to a personal effect, it is. But then I remember that I'm not being shot at on a front line somewhere, or facing genocide, or starving, or cold, or being conscripted into a war I don't want to be in. The worst of my problems are nothing compared to what a lot of the world is facing right now. Story 14. Where do I even start? Broke, behind on bills, both of us scraping to get by, shoplifting while grocery shopping to save money. Not proud of any of it, working hard to get out of it. I moved to a new city from a small town and can't seem to find any friends yet. If it weren't for my girlfriend, I would have nobody here. Her parents withdrew their support for her because she started dating a native man. Me. The fact that $50 would make such a huge difference in my month is pathetic and frustrating. Thanks for listening. Story 15. Feels pretty messed up right now. Currently in the process of packing all mine and my kids' things to leave my now ex. Moving in a few days. 4 years of my life down the drain after this man decided being his worst self was perfectly acceptable for me and my children. Spent the last year giving him 1,000 chances to do better. Currently laying on the couch having trouble breathing properly because I'm pretty sure he dislocated one of my ribs the other day by punching me in the back. 2 more days and I'm out. It all just feels awful. Story 16. Saw my little brother get killed. Moved in with my best friends and their parents because my parents became absent drunk and pillheads but still successful. My best friend's dad, a lawyer, stole all the life insurance money. He got caught by the Federal Bureau of Investigation or whoever catches people who steal over $100 million total. My best friend's dad hangs himself. I have to move states to find any sense of normalcy. This all happened by the age of 15. I know other people have it worse, so I don't know. This is kind of messed up. Story 17. Could be worse. I realized last night I'm going through a bit of depression and am just glad I caught it in time before it gets worse. I shaved today, and that really boosted my mood this morning. Story 18. For out of 10 today. The United States election mentally drained me, and I'm having a hard time coming to terms with it. My health is declining. I have a mounting list of things that need to be done, and I just want to crawl in a hole. This is typically my worst time of year. I hate the holidays. I wish I didn't, but I do. I sincerely want to unplug from everything. Story 19. The last 2 years have felt like the darkest timeline. My wife's addiction problems got out of control. I also lost my job of 10 years recently. I experienced many nights when she was intoxicated and suicidal. I'd often have to take her to the hospital all night, then head into work the next morning. Took an unbelievable toll on me. That said, I set up boundaries, got support for myself, and am working on all of it. My wife is now 4 months sober, working, and doing well. I'm taking advantage of the time off and am learning to heal. It's a little messed up, but I will get there. We all will. Story 20. Pretty messed up, only child of immigrant parents who were abusive and neglectful. My main emotion in life was crippling shame. Only was able to understand this recently. I am making moves to live my own life. Story 21. 70 out of 100 can't find a job. One friend having no love. Being a single dad in a basement. Burying physical and emotional trauma and anxiety with depression and pessimism. Financially trapped in my childhood home that constantly gives me bitter reminders of the past. I smoke cigarettes and joints, looking at a tree my brother and I used to climb, reminding me how he climbed a tree 2 years ago to commit suicide and he still haunts me. Under that tree is where my ex and I buried our first miscarried child. Constantly reminded of my failures and how I've subjected my child to a similar broken home situation that aided my depression as a teen, swearing I would never do that to my kid. How the tables have turned. Saying it helps, I guess. Story 22. My life isn't messed up at all, which is why I'm feeling even worse because I feel messed up. I just want to not feel this way anymore. I have a good job and a family that loves me. I have a wonderful daughter and the greatest dog in the world. I have no joy in my life, though. I don't get excited about anything anymore. I feel like I'm just going through the motions and I'm 44. I understand why people harm themselves now. 40 more years of feeling empty and lost? Not sure if I'm good with that. I know I have to be here for my daughter. I know that, but I honestly don't want to be here. I'm pretty messed up. Story 23. I have a sister who is dependent on Medicaid because of a disability, a mom over 70 with cancer who has very little income, and if my dad dies, I'll be left figuring out what to do when I've gone through absolute hell of physical and mental health problems of my own for over 2 decades. I can barely walk outside without feeling faint and have spent most of the past 2 years in the bathroom. I'll tell you the same thing I do to coworkers. I'm okay. Story 24. What's the maximum points for messed up? It's been 3 years since my girlfriend's car accident that left her paraplegic and non-vocal. I'm her full-time unpaid caregiver. She has made very little progress over the last 3 years. I still haven't come to terms with the possibility or fact that she will never be the person she once was. I love her too much to ever let her go through this struggle alone in some nursing facility. Story 25. Ending a long-term relationship while disabled is challenging. Housing is not guaranteed, and my job pays me nearly nothing and is about to close for 2 months. However, I have family and friends supporting me. The ways I was mistreated mean I can never return to that situation. I have to find a way out of no way. Story 26. Very high, treading water financially. About ready to drown. All I can do is walk my stress. I was trying to walk myself to death. It's not working. Oh well. Story 27. Honestly, life can get tough sometimes, but I try to focus on the good stuff. Everyone has their struggles, but it is all about pushing through and finding those small wins. Story 28. I currently have very mixed feelings. I just got major financial help from my parents, which I am grateful for, and the alternative is undeniably worse, but it does make me feel somewhat like a failure. Story 29. I work hard to stay alive, and I'm alone because everyone is really snobby and rude and nobody is ever really in the mood to socialize unless it's a rare exception, especially in the Pacific Northwest. It gets lonely and boring sometimes, but hey, if you're bored it means that you're safe, right? It beats the alternative. Story 30. Like 5 out of 10. No job for over a year, no one's fault, just my inability to move myself, probably depression. My girlfriend for over 5 years left me, kind of okay with that, but at the same time not happy. 31 years old and everywhere I look everyone is an expert in their field or getting married and having kids. And here I am, twiddling my fingers in the dark. Now I'm 6 out of 10. Story 31. I am a 20-year-old woman with a basic job who has never been happy in her life. No matter what I do, I can't be happy. I feel like a worthless human being in this world. I have suffered a lot from childhood to the present. My parents, I don't know if they love me or not, but they say that they do love me. Story 32. 8 years ago, I suffered a devastating back injury that took me a couple of years to relearn how to walk. Currently, I have a severe injury where I ripped the cartilage and tendons off my elbow, but I had a successful surgery, and everything is healing fine. Story 33. Before the comment section, I would have said 7 out of 10, but now I realize I don't have it the worst. Just broke, lots of responsibilities, bad health, and depression. So 3 out of 10. Story 34. I was about to write, then I saw other people's pain, and I feel like my worries weren't even worries in comparison. My life isn't as messed up as much as I thought. Story 35. Pressing forward regardless of the obstacles, which have been many. Never give up. Ride the highs and push through the lows. For your information, I am a 68-year-old male. I lost my wife of 37 years 6 years ago. I have 2 adult children and 3 grandchildren. There have been ups and downs along the journey. I wish all of you experiencing the lows the best of wishes. Good times and bad times don't last forever. Story 36. You know when a professional fighter's fight is done and they are all bloody and off balance, but there's this sense of, I will come back. I will bounce back and get at it. It's kind of like that. Story 37. About 87% based purely on me being in a severely depressive bipolar episode. I've cut many ties, updated my will, updated my resuscitation preferences, made lots of comments to family, boosting them on their own selves. Basically trying to damage control, not that I anticipate any actual concerns in my permanent absence. The world will still go round, everyone else will still have their same lives. Nothing changes except a bit of paperwork. Story 38. I would say like a 5 or 6. I have good prospects professionally and make decent money for a college dropout. I have an opiate problem though and a pretty bad social life these days, mainly due to the pills. Story 39. I've had chronic stress since May, and it caught up with me a couple of days ago. I can't get out of bed without collapsing. Let's just say pretty messed up. Story 40. To be very honest, maybe a 2. I am realistic. I have no job, no money, no friends, no romantic relationship, but I do suffer from depression and some other stuff, and I would still consider myself only a 2 out of 10. There are people literally starving, living without water or electricity, or who have never even heard of this kind of stuff. I could also have been born as a Somali pirate, or a girl that gets her female parts mutilated somewhere in the world. Jesus, there are people who pay to have sex with children. I could have been born as a child that gets beaten every day. The world is messed up, but my country has to be one of the safest on the planet. Be grateful for everything you have. Story 41. Maybe 2 out of 10 in messed up. Most of the worst of it has passed. Right now it is stable, but there are issues. I am sure there are bad times yet to come, but for now I am just happy that it is not as bad as it could be. Story 42. On one side, it's messed up because I ruined my relationship. I wasn't ready, I was depressed, and I didn't have a job with a great woman. On the other hand, I'm getting a job next month. I've improved so much and have actual life goals now. So I'm finally getting somewhere, but that relationship really left some permanent wounds in me, and I even lost some weight. It's all up from here, I hope. Story 43. I'm home with a burnout, and my partner had a gender identity crisis at the beginning of the year, but we have our own home, which we can still pay off thanks to Social Security, and my colleagues have been the kindest and most helpful. We're safe, and our kid is doing great.